Welcome to Date Like a French Woman, where we approach dating like a sacred healing journey rather than a quest. Welcome to a new episode of Date Like a French Woman. This is Murielle, your host, and today we are going to talk about self-confidence as a choice. Before we do so, I wanted to remind you that this topic is actually very apropos this week because this coming Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we are going to have our free online masterclass about dissolving the most urgent block to your self-confidence. And if you want to register, this is completely free. And you can register at licensetosshine.com. So now that I announced that, let's go in today's topic. So why self-confidence as a choice? I wanted to bring to your attention that at the same as time, when people say, I don't have the time to date or to exercise, it is not something, self-confidence is not something you either have or don't have. You don't come with it. You make it so. It is the result of what you believe about your self-worth, what you believe about you can or cannot have, what you're capable of. And all that is derived from your past, from the beliefs that you have internalized in your childhood, early in childhood, or in your life when you had very strong, intense emotional events, and what you do on a regular basis. So, as you know, I'm sure you know, that thoughts create emotion. If I'm asking you now to think about an event of your childhood that was really pleasant, and you really go back, let's say a Christmas evening or a Hanukkah evening or a birthday, where you were so excited and happy and you were anticipating the presents, and you remember what you were wearing, where you were sitting or standing, who was there, what you were smelling, the colors, the sound. If you really go in depth into that thought, your body is going to react and it's going to release some biochemicals of emotion, and you're going to feel the emotion in your body as if it was today. But what very few people realize is that thoughts create emotions, but emotions also invite thoughts. That's why when you're depressed, you entertain a lot of sad, heavy, negative thoughts. And they maintain the emotional state of depression in your body, and it's a vicious cycle. That's why it's so hard to step out of your emotional state sometimes when it is really intense, because they feed each other. The emotion feeds the thoughts, and the thoughts feed the emotion, and you are in a crazy spiral going down. So it's the same thing with self-confidence. You have some thoughts in the background, and you probably are not always aware of them, mostly not, because we are like 95% of the time on autopilot, on subconscious mode. So you are not aware that you're running those thoughts that maintain your low or high, but if you want to develop more, that means maybe you have a little bit of a lack. So you maintain your lack of self-confidence with your thoughts. It has now been established that we have between 60,000 and 70,000 thoughts a day, and 75% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that you had the day before. So that's rocking your world. If they are positive thoughts, don't change anything, it's perfect. But what about when they are not? What about when you lack self-confidence and you need to build some more, and you have in the background of your mind those thoughts running? Because what happens? A thought, let's say something happens or repetitively happened in your childhood that led you to derive that your value was low, you were not enough. You run that thought, and soon enough, because you practice it and because you reinforce it over time and with emotions, because you feel it over and over, it becomes a belief. And the belief is then solidified in your brain in the form of a neural pathway. Your brain is literally wired for you to think that. And not only to think, but to feel. Because as we said, the thought triggers an emotional state. And an emotional state practiced over and over and over becomes somehow, with time, a second nature. It becomes a part of you. And then that's why, consciously, you just think that you're just someone who doesn't have a lot of self-confidence. But no, it is something that you actively participate to behind the curtain. And that's not to blame yourself and not to beat yourself up. As you know, I really advocate self-love and self-compassion always. But that's an amazing news, because if you actively participate in that, you can start shifting and actively participate in the opposite thought. Now, when we talk about self-confidence, I want to see both sides of it. There is the self-worth part, what you think you are worthy of. So are you worthy of your dream? Are you worthy of the love you're looking for? Are you worthy of growing your dream, whether it is a business or a family or anything that you dream of, that your heart desires? What's your level of self-confidence there, your self-worth? And the other part of it is, do you believe that you actually have what it takes? Do you believe that you're capable of that? Do you believe that you have what it takes to make it happen? That's the other side of it. And today, I wanted to talk about both sides and invite you to an intervention. An intervention to stop your active participation in your lack of self-confidence, or stop your active participation in the thoughts that block you from going higher. What can stop that? What are ways to intervene and start changing your ways and start changing the wiring of your brain? I studied the work of people like Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza and Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer and many, many, many others. And science also has established that meditation is a way of stepping out of your persona, of who you think you are as a human being, who you are used to identify yourself with, to go into a definition of yourself that is way broader, to go to identify yourself with your essence, your magnificence, because we are not this body, we are way more. We are, whether you want to describe it as a spark of the divine, or we are the universe in small, or souls, we are energy. Whatever your description of that is, we are more than what we see with our eyes. We are more than our human self. So when you meditate, you start connecting with this part of yourself. And not only with this part of yourself, but with the unified field of information and love and resources. And when you start practicing that over and over and over, after a certain time, you start even in your daily life feeling another kind of you. You start identifying yourself more with a spiritual being having a human energy, a human experience. I forgot who said that, but I've heard it over and over from spiritual masters. And when you start identifying yourself with that, your limitations fall down. So that's one way of to intervene on your active negative participation to your self-confidence. Another way is to work with your energy and do some inner journeys, some visualization, some, I would invent a term here, feelization, where you feel, where you go higher in your vibration. You visualize and you connect with the energy of someone who would exude self-confidence. I do that in my classes with my students. And when you connect with that, over time, it is like, when you pour some liquid, let's say some wine, into a cup of water. If you continue pouring, at the beginning you're going to have just tinted water in there. But if you continue and you don't stop pouring, after some time, the water is going to flood out because the glass is going to overflow. And if you never stop pouring, after a while, your glass is going to be full of wine. So that's the same principle. When you practice these inner journeys, when you infuse your biofield, your aura, your electromagnetic field, and the energy inside your cells with this high vibration energy of feeling magnificent and powerful and confident, really, you are going to get to a stage where you are going to start exuding that, because that's what will be in you. If you practice it over and over, you're going to fill yourself up with that energy, and you will start exuding it, and you will enter a space, and you will have a magnetic presence. People are going to feel it, because we read each other's energy all day long, and in a few seconds even. So that's the second way. And the third way, which we are going to practice in our upcoming Facebook Live this Thursday at 6:30 Pacific time, PM, on my Facebook page, facebook.com/datelikeafrenchwoman. We have some kind of Facebook Live, most of the time experiential exercises and practices. And this Thursday, we are going to practice the third way that I use to step out of that blueprint of myself that is defined and limited as, let's say, if you a certain level of self-confidence that you want to transcend, with what I call, my teacher used to call it affirmation saturation. I myself call it affirmation infusion. Same again, with the same concept as filling the cup with whatever you want in the cup and letting the rest overflow. So when you do that several times a day, I do it in writing. You can do it in writing, you can do it in saying, any way you want. You start filling yourself up with that feeling of being confident and worthy and having what it takes. So this Thursday, you probably already have some affirmations, maybe. If not, we're going to cover some this Thursday. You just set a timer, let's say 5 minutes, and for 5 minutes, if you write, you don't take the pen off the paper, and you write affirmations that affirm your worth, your high worth, as a spiritual being even, and as a human being, and your self-confidence, that you have what it takes, no matter what the affirmation resembles, because you need to have something that resonates with you. So that's what we're going to cover on Thursday. And by the way, I always say replay is the new life because I always come back and answer your comments and your questions and connect with you. So don't worry, if you can't attend live, you can attend on replay. And I had a few people emailing me, letting me know that they don't have Facebook, they don't do Facebook, as they say. So I'm starting to put those videos on YouTube so that everyone can have access, and you can even put comments and we can still interact. So I really hope to see you in one of those replays or live, and I really hope that you start intervening on your self-confidence level, because this is an active creation and you can change and mold and do whatever you want with it if you start practicing with consistency and belief. So that's it for today. I really wish you to go in the world with an understanding of how magnificent and powerful you are, so you can shine your true life, your true light through your life and in the world, so we can all benefit from it too. See you next time and enjoy your week.